Your mother so sucks in head. Like, that is iconic. Here's the problem with this film. This movie is not called The Demon, or The Child, or The Father, or The Family. It is called The Exorcist. So, where is my exorcist? I need my exorcist. I need my powerhouse religious priest that's gonna, or nun, I'd totally be behind a nun, that's gonna walk into that room and command that demon to be gone and go into that pig. You just get right into that pig, sir. Thank you. And then go to the water and drown yourself. That is all. No one is gonna understand that reference. I doubt anyone's gonna know what I'm talking about, and that's fine. So we're talking The Exorcist Believer. This year is the 50th anniversary of The Exorcist. Now, I obviously was not able to watch The Exorcist in the theater, but I did catch it on television at the ripe old age of 5, and I loved it. This movie is what created my entire love for horror. This movie, The Exorcist, the original, the classic, the stellar, the amazing Exorcist. I have seen that movie countless times. So, needless to say, I was waiting with anticipation for, God, I'm such a nerd, for The Exorcist Believer. Believer hits theaters October 6th. However, thanks to a very wonderful and awesome friend, I had the opportunity to go to an advanced screener. Yay! The theater was absolutely packed. It's always great to see a horror movie with a packed audience because you get all the laughters, all the scares, and all the frights. They had posters and t-shirts that they gave out. I was a little too late for the t-shirts. Also, they did trivia based on the first movie, of course, and I did manage to win an awesome Blossom coffee mug. They had a lot of things going on, and it was a good time. If you're not familiar, The Exorcist Believer is a first film of 3 coming out from Blumhouse and David Gordon Green. The second film does have the title of Deceiver. I'm assuming The Exorcist Deceiver, but the third film is unknown. Deceiver should be out in 2025. Hopefully, with everything with the strike going well, it'll probably still be on track for that. I'm going to remain spoiler-free for a large portion of this review, for most of it. I'll let you know when I have a few spoilers at the end. The Exorcist Believer is about 2 13-year-old girls who travel into the woods to perform a ritual incantation, a summoning, if you will, of one of their mothers. Clearly, it goes horribly wrong, and the girls are missing for 3 days. When they return to their families, they are, no spoiler here, possessed. Now, how is the movie? Let me start off by saying the acting was great. I didn't have a single problem with any of the actors or any of the acting. I thought that I would really enjoy having 2 possessed girls instead of 1. I mean, 2 are better than 1, right? However, I have to say that because there are 2 and 2 separate families, there was a lot to the story. And because there was so much, it felt very convoluted and very muddled. There are unfortunately no real scares in this film. There are jump scares, however, and I actually feel like there is an overuse of jump scares, unfortunately, in this case. Your mother so sucks in head. Like, that is iconic. We all love the crazy, creepy, bad stuff that Pazuzu pushed out of Reagan's mouth. There is none of that in this film. The demon was very toned down. and quite frankly, tame, especially compared to the first movie. They had nods all over the place to the original Exorcist, but nothing in this movie had real shock value. And for an Exorcist film, I think that's a big problem. People kind of expect to be shocked. The children come back, and obviously they go through some medical testing, which is probably the most uncomfortable scene in this entire movie. And to be completely honest, I still really didn't feel the pain of what these children went through over the past 3 days. I don't know if they were afraid of getting the bad rap that behind the scenes of the first Exorcist did with William Friedkin. It felt very clean. I realized that the original Exorcist was plagued with a lot of drama, and I understand that probably contributed to the overall tension of the film. This movie lacks any sort of tension. For an Exorcist franchise film to be successful, there needs to be true and present fear, an overwhelming, looming sense of dread. And this film did not have any of it. So now we're going to get in a little spoiler territory. So they start the film in Haiti. I feel like they did that to harken back to, The Exorcist, where he was in foreign lands, but instead of actually focusing on any sort of archaeological dig or anything that doesn't relate to the family, it actually does relate to one of the families. And unfortunately, because of that beginning, it completely telegraphs the entire movie and therefore takes away any sort of real impact the film could have, because you know exactly what's going to happen. You may not know how we get to that destination completely, but you know where it's going to go. They had multiple religious characters, and I liked aspects of all of them, actually. They diluted the power and the force behind them, though, by having so many. And they focused on this whole idea of community as opposed to God being the true weapon. An interesting take. However, I felt it didn't work. I don't know if I can really call it spoilers, because on the trailer alone, it says one lives and one dies. Quite frankly, I feel like that's giving way too much away, because through the course, you already know what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to spoil that much. However, one of the big losses of this film, I feel, is the fact that there is no win. The demon decides the ending of this film, and we're just along for the ride. As opposed to the original Exorcist, where the priest chose to take this and to do what he chose to do and figure that out. No. In this film, this demon is in control the entire time. There is no leader. There is no one to really root for. There is no savior in this film. And that is a problem. That is a really big problem. I felt like they were kind of trying to bring in Ellen Burstyn to be that hero, and that's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I am very confused as to the direction of where they planned on taking this film. Conceptually, I know it's hard to compete with the original Exorcist. And I felt that this film clearly did not compete with the original Exorcist and did just an acceptable job. This film was just acceptable. Not scary, not powerful. The Exorcist television show was far better than this film, and that is truly unfortunate. So all in all, if I had to rate this film from a 1 to 10, I would probably give this movie a 5. A very sad and very disappointing 5. And yeah, that's my rating. Not quite a turd, but not great. Honestly, the best part about seeing this movie was spending time with my friends. And that was great. I knew going in that this film was not going to be great, but I really hoped for it to be good or to at least make me feel tension and you know, get the little stomach, get the little heart going. And unfortunately, I felt none of that. And those around me seemed to agree with me. And even those who were, you know, not very familiar with the franchise said they were unfortunately disappointed. I'm sad about that. But I'm definitely still going to see the next film in the series. I will see this through to the 3rd film. So there is a chance. Redemption is here. Redemption is here. That they could redeem themselves with the next 2 films. I really am like rooting for them 100%. I wasn't a huge Halloween fan, so the fact that those didn't perform well was not such a big deal to me. But this is a big deal to me. This movie changed my life. This franchise means something to me. And I really hope that they do right by The Exorcist. Now, if you guys have seen The Exorcist, or you're going to see The Exorcist, or you're about to see The Exorcist, I would love to know your thoughts on it. I hope that you have a better experience than I did. Maybe if you go in with really, really, really low expectations, it has nowhere to go but up. So you'll be pleasantly surprised. That's kind of what I'm hoping with this review, that maybe I can help your viewing experience for this film, because I feel like maybe my expectations were a little too high going in.